Jason Burge has been in Laramie for 7 years. He came to Wyoming to do his MFA in fiction in the creative writing program, and he never left. He spends his free time haunting Wyoming's rivers, mountains, bird fields, and bars as an appreciator and performer of music. He works at the Wyoming Humanities Council, where he connects the arts and the humanities, beautiful creative activities, and the beautiful discussions in which we figure out why those creative acts matter so much to us. He has a heart as big as the Wyoming sky and creative hunger to match. For now, Jason's going to talk to us about different kinds of hunger. Jason Burge.
May we begin? All right, I often joke that when people ask me what we do at the Humanities Council, the one thing that we don't do is hold canned food drives. And tonight, I think I've kind of made that where I can't say it anymore, right? People get really confused about humanities and humanitarians. Well, with the humanities, there are two important words: humans and ties. You fashion-conscious people, Maggie Mullen. I'm looking at y'all. You know, you might have seen ties first, but there's a word inside humanities that matters even more, and that word is us. Because the humanities are the story of us, our arts, our cultures, our religions, our democratic systems. And they're here to help us figure out what the meaning of life is. That's the baseline question. They all started when the first caveman took a piece of coal out of the ground and went over the cave wall and started advertising what he'd eaten the night before. Just started drawing on the wall. Well, since then, we've taken it maybe a little bit too far. We share a lot. I'm a consummate overposter. I don't do this at concerts because I like to listen to the music. I do that. That's Boot, my dog, with a piece of bread on her nose. So I share. And we villainize our technologies, but we shouldn't, because they're also keys to help us having very important conversations. This right here is a video game about water in Darfur, okay? In this game, you don't get a magic wizard hat where you destroy your enemies with your eyes or anything. All you have to do is get water to your family every day, by foot, with a jug. You go out and the Janjaweed goes and they find you. And it gives you warnings what they'll do to you. And it's here to remind us that this is a real existence for people not in the first world. Every day, every single day, they have to live with this. With the Digital Humanities Project, it's an invitation. It's a quite clever invitation for us to get emotionally connected with those characters in that game, and then start having conversations, start reading books, start looking at the history, the wars, the scarcity of resources that leads to the events that we find horrific. All right, there's been this big thing for the last 3 years that the humanities are dead. It's a bunch of old white guys writing books. If you've seen the vultures floating above Hoyt Hall, and our legislators and business leaders and stuff, they say liberal arts and the humanities, they don't mean anything. They don't make us any money, okay? They say you can go get that on your own. You can privatize it. We can do whatever. When we do privatize it, every time I'm at my brother's at Christmas, this is what I see on the History Channel. Are angels really aliens? Okay, so we know that once we start putting money to something, things get a little wonky. All right, but the humanities are supposed to do this. They're supposed to take these things and defeat them with this. The long view, that the world's not that scary of a place, that we've been through this type of stuff before. Look at this. 40% are half true on Fox News. MSNBC, 53% of the things on Pundit Fact. Y'all ever go check that? Something makes you mad on the news, you go check it. Well, I mean, we're barely getting half of half-truths out of our news agencies. And they know why they do that, because they keep us scared. We end up buying more stuff. Well, the humanities are supposed to make us look outside of ourselves, outside of buying consumer goods and whatnot, make us into the leaders and the cultural people that we should be, where we look outside of our bodies. This slide, which I'm behind on now, is supposed to set up what is a humanities scholar ever given to us. Well, they give us a constitution, a national park system, and public education and public libraries. That's the humanities right there. That's what we actually study. And these guys, they knew that was important. They were humanities scholars. They knew languages. They knew history. They knew the classics. They knew philosophy. And they used that information to make our society. I'm not saying everybody should be an English major or a philosophy major. We don't all have to live the life of the mind, as it's called. But we do need to live a life engaged with the world in a more holistic way, where we look at the whole thing, what our micro decisions mean. Because they work through empathy, logic, and rhetoric. They can challenge your value systems and make you care enough to actually do something. If you're a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, you can see a hole in the world. You can help fill that gap between us and the people who have nothing. And there are a lot of people who have nothing out there in the world, and we don't remember that. So, if you want to know what the humanities actually do, the Border Kids thing was mentioned earlier. We funded this. Go to it next Thursday. It's Jose Vargas with the Border Kids. Okay, and just think about it. I worked in a ditch with a lot of guys without cards for 15 years, and it's a different existence, and it's just something to think about. So be free and open to the public. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for coming. And before we go anywhere, we want you to sing a song with us. Will y'all do that? Angel Adams band back out here. Will your presenters want to come up there and sing with us?